you say that
We have a quorum.
inside of it is really tricky.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is the AMATS Policy Committee meeting for
I guess that was the.
May 23rd, 2019. Call that to order now. It is 1:31. We'll do the roll call real quick. Mr. Peterson.
Present.
Mr. Weddleton, absent. Mr. Schutte.
Present.
And Ms. Heil is absent. And myself, of course. So we have a quorum. Craig, will you please do the announcements?
Yep. All AMATS meetings are open to the public. The public will be invited to comment. If we have a business meeting, a business item, we'll have a presentation by staff or a consultant. And then the committee will be given a chance to discuss the matter. And then after that, the public will be invited to comment.
Okay. Item number 3, we have an approval of the motion to approve the agenda.
So moved. Second.
Thank you. Agenda is approved. All right, we have before us the minutes from April 25th, 2019 for approval. Do we have a motion on this?
Move to approve. I'll second that.
Hearing no objections, the April 25th minutes are approved. All right, we'll move on to the agenda item 5A, AMATS Citizens Advisory Committee appointee. Craig, do you want to go ahead and present?
Sure. So just a quick reminder, we have a Citizens Advisory Committee. It is made up of 11 members, 1 member from each assembly district, and then a couple of different memberships from different groups. And so we had a vacancy in our, I believe it's Assembly District 6, which happens to be Mr. Weddleton's district. And so we have before us, I believe his name is Mike Fenster, and he, in the memo, you can see a little bit of his background. I don't believe he is here, although that's only because I think I know the rest of the people in the room. But he has a background as a teacher. He also is a retired mechanical engineer and an avid biker. So it went to the Technical Advisory Committee, and they unanimously recommended approval of his appointment. So that's before you today.
Let the minutes show that Mr. Weddleton showed up. 132. Any questions or comments from the committee on the appointment? Mr. Weddleton?
I know Mike, he'll be dynamite.
There you go.
It looks like he's got a great background, so he should be able to contribute.
Great, thank you. Chris?
I can't say anything more than what they've already said.
Okay. Any comments from the public on the proposed nomination? What is the will of the committee?
Move to approve the Citizens Advisory Committee appointment.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any objections to approving the motion? Hearing none, the motion is approved. Congratulations. Okay. All right, moving on to action item 5B, AMATS Transportation Improvement Program Administrative Law Number 1. Craig?
So, as you probably remember, our 15 to 18 tip previous one, we had about 22 administrative modifications and changes, and we're hitting the ground running by approving this a couple of months ago and already doing an administrative modification. That's just kind of the way it works when you have to move some minor changes around. If you look at the memo, you'll see that in Table 3 we have some minor changes with the dollars for the area-wide pathway and trails rehab. A lot of times when we have a small amount of extra funding that due to schedule or scope changes or just delays, we move those into payment replacement. So in this case, we are still moving some money into payment replacement, but this time just to trails rehab. So there's always a need there as well as in the roadways. In Table 4, plans or studies, when we first built the tip, we put the secondary streets analysis in 2019. The planning department nominated that, and therefore they're the ones who would be coming up with the 10% local match on that. And there are just a number of other projects that are planning projects that are already in the 2019 year. So they thought it would make more sense to push that out a year so they could still come up with all the local match for the other projects as well. So that's the reason for that. And then in Table 11, we had an administrative modification last year related to the Public Transportation Department. Transit had applied for a certain grant. In order to receive that grant, if they were successful, the project has to be in our TIP. In this case, they did not receive that grant, so we're taking that project out, but they have applied for another grant, which is the Bus and Bus Facilities Infrastructure Investment Project. And so again, it's the same sort of thing. They've applied for this grant, and if they're successful, it needs to be in here in order for them to get the funding. So there were some other minor housekeeping changes, but that's kind of the gist of it.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from
A couple, so do you know why they didn't get that grant?
It's just a competitive grant, and apparently they were not successful with the rest of the folks who applied.
No special feature, like they don't like cold weather?
I don't believe so. No.
On the trails change, where's the match come from the trails?
I'm not 100% certain, but I'm pretty sure those are coming out of parks bonds. Most of the trails that are being rehabbed on here are municipal owned, and so the Parks Department they regularly put in the bond, as I'm told, match money.
Okay. So those could be done anywhere in the sales. Or trail on birch or something.
Provided it's within the parks area.
Right.
Yeah.
So, okay. All right, thanks.
Okay, any other comments from Mr. Peterson?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I noticed that there's a trail plan, though it's called the Chugach Foothills Connector. And in one part, it's talking about, I think in table 6, the design is this year and construction would be next year. But on an earlier table, it had design this year and construction in 2021. And I was wondering, when is this construction actually scheduled to happen?
I can answer that one, actually. That is 2020 construction.
Okay.
If you recall, the local match for that was provided by the bond that was recently approved. Parks and Rec had this project listed as one of the many projects in the bond request. So that gives us the money to move to construction next year.
All right, yeah, because the community council was worried that they were just going to keep getting pushed further and further out. So now I can tell them, no, it's going to be next year. Thank you.
Any other comments? Mr. Wilson?
I suppose this is obvious, but we have the fiscal constraints. So when they apply for a grant, you could just put it in there and you just add, the total goes up. And if they don't get it, total goes down.
Yeah, the
By that same
fiscal,
amount.
the fiscal constraint relates to the AMATS allocation. And so they're the roadway tables, the trail tables, and the CMAQ tables, and the plans and studies. The other tables are outside of our allocation, so it's not really fiscally constrained. If you remember, in the same table, we used to have the Kinnicarn Crossing project with 700 and whatever millions dollars in there. And so that was just in there as, that's what they were expecting the project to cost, but it certainly wasn't constrained.
All right, thank
So
you.
that's the tables outside of our allocation.
Any more comments? All right, any comments from the public at all? Okay. Hearing none, what is the will of the committee?
Move to approve. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any objections to approving the motion? All right, hearing none, the motion is approved. Okay, on to agenda item number 6A, MTP update. Craig, will that be you or Vivian?
Vivian.
Vivian.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just for the record, I'm Vivian Underwood with AMATS. So I want to thank you all for coming to the 3 work sessions that we had with you, March, April, and May, to develop the preferred draft, fiscally constrained preferred alternative. So you were sent the changes that you all agreed to on the 14th after our last meeting on the 13th. And we'll be coming to you in June to ask for your permission to release the information in Tech Memo 3, which is all of that information to the public. We won't be releasing the document itself to the public for review and comment, but some of the information in there, including the draft list of projects. And then we'll bring that back to you with comments, and at some point we'll have a final modeling run, and then we'll have the public review draft out in the fall. is our goal. And then we're saving our big last final public review, public involvement push for public meeting number 3, survey number 3, video number 3, and trotting it out to different groups to get support for the final. So we didn't get any additional comments or questions either from the members through Thursday, close of business. So we feel we're good to go for now, at least. Any questions?
This is what we saw at the TAC last week, is that
Yes.
right?
Yes. Well, at the joint work session on the
Joint work
13th.
session.
Yeah.
Yes, with the TAC and the Citizens Advisory Committee.
Thanks, Vivian.
Thank you, Vivian.
So,
Okay. Floor is open to comments from the committee. To you, Mr. Peterson, any comments from you in general? Mr. Weddle?
No, thank you.
Mr. Sheedy?
Just one, that now we are fully in summer despite the clouds today. It's prime time for everyone to be aware of non-motorized commuters. So watch yourselves in those intersections, and I promise I won't yell at you too loudly.
And also look out for those school children who are out of school now because
That's
they're going to be all over the sidewalks in neighborhoods.
Thank you. Thank you. A couple comments from DOT. STIP Amendment 3, I believe, went out for public review yesterday, Todd? Is that-
Yes.
So that's a 30-day review. Encourage you to pull that up on the state DOT's website and review that STIP amendment. And make comments as you see fit. There will be a new STIP starting up, I believe, this fall as well. So we'll be kicking off a brand-new state transportation improvement plan. So you can kind of stay tuned for that as well. As far as the earthquakes, I think we blew past 200 sites this last week. So we're bumping up against 210 sites. The estimated total cost is around $57 million. That's today's estimate. But that could well go north to 100 million pretty quickly. So we're working as quickly as you can. You'll probably see the minor crack repairs and stuff that doesn't require plans, specs, and estimates to be accomplished this year. That is actually the preponderance of the sites. But the larger sites, Minnesota International, the Glen Parks Interchange, Mirror Lake Blowout, those will be mostly next year. So those will require a lot more environmental clearances and preparation. So we fully expect 2 to 3 years before this is all played out. But we are hitting it pretty hard and making sure that it gets done. So.
When you say Minnesota International, you mean the ramp?
Yeah, the ramp.
What up?
That's right. Well, there was the ramp on the southeast corner, and then that large MSE wall where the bike path goes below it on the northwest quarter also sank on us.
Really?
Yeah. That's why there's New Jersey barriers
I
right
didn't
there.
notice that.
Yeah. So we're gonna have to address that as well. So
Is it not usable now?
it's usable.
Yeah, okay.
But they've kind of barriered it off a little bit. There's an offset there. More to follow on that. Okay. Any other comments from the committee? Okay. Floor is now open. Comments from the public. Any comments from anyone?
I'm looking at Cheryl, sorry, Shana.
Okay. Okay. Well, hearing none, thank you for your participation. The meeting is adjourned at 1:44.